Well, well, hello there. How's it going? Hi, my name is Father Mike Schmitz, and this is Ascension Presents. So a couple of years ago, I read an article that talked about, they basically were saying the crisis of loneliness. And they were specifically highlighting the fact that there are many middle-aged men, roughly my age, and older, who experience a great degree of loneliness. Almost, they would maintain that it maybe is even an unprecedented level of loneliness or friendlessness. And it wasn't that these men, or these people in general, because it's not just men, people in general didn't have people in their lives. It's not that they weren't busy. It's not that they didn't have family. It was that they lacked the ability or the opportunity to enter into deep friendship with anyone in their lives. And I imagine that if you're watching this, you probably have experienced that as well. We've done videos on loneliness and other videos on what it is to be a friend. But why is it that friendlessness is so prevalent right now? I think there's at least two kind of enemies, I guess, of friendliness, I guess, two enemies that contribute to friendlessness. I think the first one is maybe possibly the most obvious. Friendships grow over time. In fact, friendships need time to exist. Because I know for myself that I can be so busy, and this is the thing, you're probably so busy, too busy to have any friends. Now think about that. Too busy with life to have any time for friends. Now, I'm not talking about being selfish and like, I need time with the guys. Like, those are buddies, or I need time with my girls out. Like, those are pals. But to have actual friendship, that deep friendship, there must be an investment of time. And the problem is, not only are we hyper scheduled and hyper busy, but oftentimes we as a people, maybe not you watching this or listening to this on your own, but we as a people can find ourselves really unwilling to commit. We are like commitment phobes, commitment phobia. We have this thing, I think we've talked about it before, optionitis. And optionitis is like, I have so many options that I want to choose them all. So we have FOMO, right? So I'm not willing to commit to any one person or any couple different people because there's so much to do and there's so many opportunities out there that I don't have the time to invest in a deep friendship. And if I don't have time, this is the reality, if I do not have time, then I will not have friends, because a precondition, a necessity for friendship is time. The second thing is maybe more deep, maybe more personal, and maybe fewer of you have this as an issue. But that obstacle is the desire, I would prefer to be admired than loved. I think a lot of us ultimately, maybe not ultimately, but I think a lot of us initially, if it came down to one of the two things, would you rather be loved or rather be admired? The easy one is to be admired. It's really easy for people from a distance to be like, wow, I really like you, you're great. And they have this positive opinion of you, and they even can say, yeah, we're friends or we're buddies, we're pals. But when it comes to deep friendship, when it comes to actually loving you, what it means is I have to be willing, over the course of time, right, when people build trust up and everything, and they deserve, they've shown themselves worthy of your trust, that you allow yourself to truly be seen by them. So to be admired is to be kept at a distance, to keep the others at a distance, but if someone's going to love you, they have to have permission to know you. And not just know your good side, but know some of the darker things. That's one of the reasons why time is so important, right? Because only over time can a person prove that they're worthy of your trust. Only over time can a person actually get to know you beyond the surface. Only over time can they say that, yeah, you can trust me by showing me your wounds, by showing me that you're not perfect, by showing me your vulnerability, and I won't abuse that knowledge. If you let me know you and I don't abuse that knowledge of you, well, then I have proved myself worthy to know you more. But if I just want to be admired and not known, I will simply keep people at a distance and have maybe a bunch of buddies, but no real friends. I think the obstacle, again, to being known, loved, and cared for is time. I'm not willing to commit my time. I don't have any time to give. Or it's that sense of, I want to be admired rather than loved. You know, there's something so powerful, though, about being willing in the right context, in the right relationship, to be vulnerable. I remember, maybe I mentioned this before, but we had a student who pointed this out to me. I was talking about being transparent, and she said, well, you know, Father, being transparent is fine, but we really need to take the next step of being vulnerable. And she gave this great example. She said, being transparent is like being in a fishbowl. You let people see you in the right context, right? The right people, you let them see you. Like, this is who I really am. But being vulnerable is letting them get in your fishbowl. Like, they can mess things around. Like, you're trusting them enough to, like, no, you can move the little underwater castle over here, and you can move this rock over here. I'm thinking of a fishbowl example. But like, you're giving them access to your wounds. Who are you willing to be vulnerable with? Yeah, back up a question and say, who are you willing to let see you as you are, not as you wish you were? That's transparency. Who are you willing to give access to your wounds? Because that's vulnerability. Last thing, Jesus says, I call you my friends. And there's a lot of stuff there. But if Jesus says, I call you my friends, that means, and we're going to be good friends with Jesus, that means these two things, these two obstacles need to be dealt with. How much time do I spend with Jesus? Because if we're going to be friends, deep friends, true friends, then we need time. And I'd rather be admired from Jesus, he stays out of my business and he stays out of my fishbowl, or will I give Jesus, my friend, access to my wounds? Will I be vulnerable in his presence? Because your heart is made, your life, you are made to be a friend. You're made to be in friendships. Above all, we're made to be friends with Christ. So address that issue of time. Address that issue of being admired rather than loved. And give the Lord Jesus, your friend, access to your wounds. For all of us here at Ascension Presents, my name is Father Mike. God bless. Like, subscribe, share it with a friend. Share it with a friend. I don't know what that means. Whatever. I don't ever know how to end these things, for crying out loud.